Good evening, every pony and every creature. Welcome to DAG. On tonight's episode, Dratta Talks. And as always, guys, this is Dratta Arcana, your loving alicorn. And today, I'm going to talk about something that I've been wanting to talk about for quite some time. And it's something that, as I became more involved in the different Discord groups and online groups, is something I've always wanted to touch on. Is what is an actual brony? What does it really mean to be a brony? Well, to start off, I think that the best way that we can kind of explain this is looking at the actual definition given to us. A brony is a fan of the show of My Little Pony, Friendship is Magic, often male but also female. Okay, so if we look at that definition, it says fan. Now, I've always identified myself as a brony, so let's just get that out of the way right here and now. As we all know, my OC is a pony. But does that mean that there aren't different types of bronies out there? Does that mean that there aren't different aspects of the brony fandom? And that's kind of what I want to touch on. There's plenty of YouTube videos out there explaining the different aspects of being a brony, what kind of brony you are and stuff. But let's talk about kind of a little bit more about what types of bronies we will see normally in the fandom, because there are a variety of different ones. Now, to make sure that we're not going lengthy and into a whole lot of depth, I'm just going to combine all the musicians, fan fiction writers, artists, and all the different YouTubers and all the animators and stuff, and kind of just throw them all into a genre all of their own. And we will talk about that genre, and that genre of brony is content creator. So let's kind of start off with the first type of brony, and that's going to be what I'm going to call the low-key brony. This is someone that might generally just watch the show. They tend to like the show, but they don't want to publicize it. They don't want to, publicly claim that they're a brony. They watch the show because it has good storytelling, have likable characters, and so forth. They're probably not going to go to a convention. They're probably watching it along with, maybe their kids, or they're, a kid and they're watching the show and they enjoy it. But maybe they're not going to be they're not going to go to school and say to all their friends that, hey, I'm a brony. They're probably just watching the show because they think it's cute and funny. Next up, I'm going to look at the next tier of brony, which I'm going to call the medium tier. Now, these bronies might just be, they enjoy the show, maybe they go to a convention or two, but they're not going to know every fact about the show. And these bronies tend to be a little bit more low-key. They might not publicize it at work, or they might not publicize it at school, but they'll go to a convention here or there, and they might, just watch it for the fact that they like the show, and they're probably not going to remember every detail. They might watch each new episode, but they might not go back to previous episodes. The next tier of brony I'm going to talk about is what I would call the loving, adorable tier. These are the bronies, I love the way I phrase that. These are the bronies that are going to know every detail about the show. They're going to be at almost every convention. They're the ones that are probably going to have a pony OC and have a backstory to that OC. Or maybe they won't have a backstory to that OC, but they will generally, their OC will become a pony, and they'll embrace the community, and they just love the show. They love everything about the show. They will defend the show to all their friends and family. They'll tell everyone that they're a brony. I am probably a high-tier brony myself. I am a lovable, adorable brony. Because I love everything about the show. If you haven't guessed. But at the same time, those are going to be our different tiers of brony. You got your low-key, your medium tier, and then you got your lovable, adorable tier. Your, passionate brony and stuff. Now, keep in mind when I'm saying brony, I'm also referring to the Pegasisters. I want to get that term out there because some female fans of the show prefer the term Pegasister. And that is fine. In the general scheme of things, I normally would associate brony as the male side of the fandom and the Pegasisters as the female side of the fandom. But it's not good to discriminate, and I'm not going to do that. I think that we all love the show because it's a good show, and each fan is equal, in my book. Whether you want to admit it or not, equality is very important, just not to Starlight Glimmer's degree. But now I'm going to talk about the difference between a regular fan of the show and what I would call content creators. Content creators are the individuals like myself who generally will make content regarding the brony fandom. They could be artists like Midnight Premiere, who has been on my channel, Mystic Drive, Commentary is Magic is an example from the CCG standpoint. They make content. You got the analyst community, individuals like Silver Quill, Dr. Wolf, Lightning Bliss. You got the bloggers, Pirate Dash, for example. You got several YouTubers. There's a gazillion YouTubers, so I'm not going to try to name off every single one of them. But generally, you got your content creators. Now, the content creators have kind of their own little place in the fandom where they might not be caught up on the show. In fact, Midnight Premiere is probably, from my podcast with her, you may have heard that she's not caught up on the show. And that's going to be probably a lot of content creators. Many artists and YouTubers and stuff might not be 100% caught up on the show because they have their own things that they're trying to do, whether it be blind reactions, fan art, or making music, and they spend most of their time doing that. Now, why would content creator, you might be saying, but Dratta, why are content creators and fans of the show different? Well, fans of the show might also be content creators, but generally I would say that I shouldn't say true fans, because everyone is true fans of the show. But I would say that the difference between a non-content creator and a content creator is that a brony content creator might not be 100% caught up, while a non-content creator brony will actually be fully caught up on the show. And that's why I differentiate the two. A lot of artists in the community still love the show, and they continue to be part of the fandom because all their friends that they've made through the fandom in the show are still doing art and so forth as part of their as part of the fandom. They continue to work with various different individuals in the brony fandom. Now, that's why I'm saying that the content creators kind of have their own thing. And so with that in mind, with all these different types of bronies and the fact that artists are one type of brony, where they draw art related to the show and might not actually watch the episodes. But how do we define a brony? Well, as the official definition states, that it is a fan of Friendship is Magic, and I think that definition isn't 100% correct. I think we need to delve a little deeper into this, because a brony can be a fan of the other generations of My Little Pony. I think that what we really need to look at is, first off, do they watch My Little Pony? Period. It doesn't matter the generation. It doesn't matter which episodes or what show. Do they watch it, and do they watch the entire episodes? If you're someone that only watches like an episode here or there and don't watch the show for it being the show, I can't really consider you 100% a brony, unless you are a content creator where you are doing something pony related. And that's why I'm differentiating fans from content creators. Because content creators get bogged down with all their content. It's hard to keep up with the show as a content creator. Alright? A lot of content creators don't have the time to be dedicating to watching the show, but they contribute to the fandom in other ways, whether that be con art / convention art, or whether that be making videos to aid other bronies, whether that be pony music videos, animation, and stuff. It's hard to keep up with a show when you're working on your own projects. So that's why I'm separating out the content creators and the fans. So when we talk about bronies, we're talking about people who watch the show and enjoy the show. And generally, really do love everything about the show. And that is what a brony, to me personally, is all about. Do you enjoy Friendship is Magic? Do you, do you accept that you're a brony? And that's another thing, too, is that I really hate labels. Hate's a strong word, guys. I'm sorry. I don't like labels, because labels is something that society has done for forever. Centuries. We've been labeling people. We've been labeling people as kings, queens, rulers, poverty line. We've had these labels for years and centuries. And I don't like to label everyone in the fandom as a brony. You either like the show or you don't like the show. And that is where I think that saying that we're all bronies is a misconception. I think what we really need to say is, are we a fan of My Little Pony or not? And that's the important thing. Do we like the show enough to, make friends over it? Go to conventions? Or, go to meetups? The real thing that determines whether you're a brony or not is whether or not you yourself consider yourself a brony. And that is how I would define a brony. Do you accept that you are a brony? Because if you don't accept that you're a brony, but you watch My Little Pony, then I wouldn't consider you a brony. I would consider you that you watch the show, but I wouldn't call you a brony. If you accept that you're a brony, then you're a brony. But I think that there's this misconception in everyone's lives about the show where if you watch My Little Pony, you're instantly a brony. I think that is not entirely true. I think you can watch a show without being a fan. Because the actual definition of a fan, and that's something too that we're going to have to look at. And there's a variety of fandoms. Like, I watch Star Wars. Does that mean that I'm a fan of it? Well, let's find out. The definition... Wow, weird definitions all around. I'd actually have to dig a little deeper. But my point is that, in truth, so fans, by definition, states the fans of a particular person. So a fandom is the fans of a particular person, team, fictional series, etc. regarded collectively as a community or subculture. Let's talk about that for a second. I liked Star Wars. I liked Lord of the Rings. I liked Narnia. I would not consider myself a fan of them because I never got involved with the community and I never got involved with the subculture. I did get involved with the pony fandom. So I would consider myself a brony. And that is where we need to differentiate. Bronies are a fan of My Little Pony. So that means that by definition, a brony must also be involved in the community in some shape or form. So, and that's just by definition. I think that it's really easy for people to say, hey, you watch My Little Pony, you're a brony. I don't think that is a correct attitude that people should have. The real question is, are you involved in the community at all? Whether that be content creation, going to conventions, drawing art, making music, whether that be, just talking on forums, or playing the My Little Pony collectible card game. Because we all know that's a thing. And many of you might be like, but Dratta, then that means that non-bronies are just people that watch the show. Does that mean that they have to be also part of the community? No, I don't think that those that like the show need to be involved in the community. And if they're not involved in the community subculture, but they do watch the show, I would consider them a very low-key brony. And honestly, I'd like to just say that they watch My Little Pony, and that's it. I wouldn't even like to call them a low-key brony, but for the sake and purposes of this podcast, we're just going to say low-key brony. I think that we all in the pony fandom, and especially myself, Dratta Arcana, think that we are bronies. For the most part, those of us that go to conventions and stuff. Like, I've been to BronyCon. I've been to Winnie City. I've been to TrotCon. I've been to Ponyville Cider Fest. And I would say that overall, the fact that I've been so active in the community and the fact that I've been really dedicated towards this community means that, yes, I am a brony. Does that mean that My Little Pony is the only show I like? No. I like other things too. I liked How to Train Your Dragon, The Lion King. Mulan was a great Disney movie. But I think that There's this misconception that bronies only care about My Little Pony. That's just not true. And I'd like to get that off my chest for anyone that's watching this that was worried that their kids are into My Little Pony and stuff. Just because they like a show, whether it has good storytelling, whether it has, good characters, people are going to be drawn towards that. And that's what drew me to My Little Pony. That's what made me a brony. There's nothing wrong with being a fan of a good show. Granted, I probably took it a little farther than I probably should have, but I really do enjoy this show. And the community has been amazing. I love this community. It's a passionate community full of unique and interesting individuals, and I love everything about it. It's what keeps me being a brony, is the friends, the family, or the friends and the community that I've met. I just have a passion for it now. And that's why I continue to make these podcasts. And I would say, yes, I'm a brony. But I think that, to consider yourself to be in a fandom, whether it be Star Wars, whether it be Lord of the Rings, whether it be the furries, whether it be My Little Pony, to consider yourself a fan of it, you have to first accept that you're a fan. And you have to acknowledge yourself as a fan. And you have to be in the community. And you have to be active in the community. I think that's an important thing too. If you're no longer a fan of something, you're not going to be active in that fandom, which means you're not going to be active in the community. And because you're not active in a specific community, I wear a fur tail to conventions, for example. Am I a furry? No, because I do not participate in the furry fandom. But I do like wearing my ponytail. It's something I enjoy doing. But it does not mean that I am a furry, because I am not active in the community. And that's what it means to be a fan of something. Are you active in that fandom? And it doesn't matter how you're active. But generally speaking, if you're active in that community, then yes, you are a member of that community. And that's why I think that if you're going to consider yourself a brony, you have to be active in the community, whether that be going to conventions, talking with people online, and all that. And if you are active online, look for your favorite alicorn. Maybe I'm your favorite, I don't know. It's up to you guys. But as always, guys, I think that that's going to pretty much do it for this episode. If you're a brony, tell me in the comments below. If you're not a brony and you dislike everything pony related, feel free to leave me a comment in the video below. And as always, guys, if you like my content, please feel free to subscribe. And as always, guys, this is your host, Dratta Arcana, for Dratta Talks. No but Dratta comments. We'll see you guys on the next video. And if you're looking to contact me, you can contact me in a variety of ways. But the main ones are, you can always contact me at dratta.arcana@gmail.com or Dratta Arcana Gaming on Facebook. And if you're looking for this or any of my other content, you know where to find it, YouTube. And as always, guys, we'll see you guys on the next video. Have a good night, every pony and every creature. Goodbye.